Oh, alrighty, y'all, grand whatever Pleiasbians, party people, and they mamas. I'm not sure how long this episode is gonna be. As we always know, this seems like a very experimental show, podcast, project, art piece, whatever you'd like to call it. It's very experimental because I am living day by day with such changing experiences, and I feel the need to document them and talk about them. And also, I do enjoy the fact that you guys, again, are my community support system. The fact that I am able to keep going, it's because of you, right? That's what I say all the time, but I'm constantly reminded of it. Again, I go through so much with moving back and forth, traveling, seeing everyone that I love in my life, putting this project on. This is supposed to be posted on June 29th, and it is June 27th today. And again, we are recording on my father's phone, which I'm so grateful for. And next week is July 6th, which will be Angela, the interview, which again, I'm so grateful for. Thank you, Angela, for sitting down with me. I can't wait for you guys to see that. The episode is going to be amazing. We're in front of my house today, and I just got back from Austin, Texas, actually. I went and I looked at a whole bunch of different apartments. If you guys know anything of what that will mean, then yeah, I think you guys can put two and two together. Not everyone can put two and two together, which is so silly, and I don't even know. Let's get into this. So this is episode 56, and this episode is called Pangender. Why is it called that? Well, first off, it's still Pride Month. Again, I just came back from Austin after visiting a lot of apartments, and on top of that, I went to a queer picnic event where me and my friends got to hang out, have some snacks. It was very cute. I got to see a lot of vendors. Future Front, if you guys know anything about Future Front, they ran it. Again, this episode is called Pangender because, again, it's Pride Month, and we have to remember the queers that we need to support. Again, I am a queer creator. Last year in 2025, June of 2025, I began my podcast for the first time, and since then, I've been posting every single Monday. For the 234, I had 235, I wonder who unsubscribed, but for the 234 subscribers, thank you guys again for supporting a queer creator. We are here in Katy, Texas. We are in, again, my front yard. This is the front of my house, and you guys have seen my backyard, the patio. And again, I'm so grateful for my parents for paying my rent and allowing me to stay in their space, this house that they own. Thank you for everyone for watching my show. Again, in our last house in Manor, we had recorded, and we've also recorded in this backyard again, the patio, and there's plenty of patios to record in, right? Like, we've recorded in a couple of my friends' patios. It's now the summer, we have mosquitoes and a lot of bugs out, and it's also difficult to see certain things. We love the sunset, the sunrise, we love cafe patios, and again, the queers have seen many patios. They've seen many parts of the world. We've gotten to record in New York, in Georgia, in airports, in, I think, cafes. Again, yes, Bohemios, right? There's other patios that I'd like to record on as well. Like I said, again, cafes. So many different places, so many different patios, and why would we not like to record in patios? Because again, the queers deserve to be outside, we deserve to be seen. The gays need to feel the love. Again, I don't know how long this episode will run, but I would prefer for it to run 30 minutes. I just don't have the clockina. You guys know the clockina, the famous clockina. Thank you again, Joaquina, for existing. I just saw Joaquina in Austin. Again, if you guys know the lore, if you guys have been a part of the conversation, then you guys know what I'm talking about. But if not, then Joaquina is my bestie. They are an amazing human being, artist, friend, community member, supporter. I love them. Oh, sorry, there's just a lot of bugs out, I guess, especially today, but maybe that's just how Katy is. I don't know. That's just how Texas is. That's just how the world is. We love bugs. But they can be in your face sometimes. Anyway, let's get into it, right? So the title is Pangender. What does this mean for me? Let's just get into it. Like I've been saying, let's get started. So first off, there's umbrella terms, and then there's more specific terms. So in this way, pangender is the most specific term that we can get for me, and some people can consider like the word transgender to be as specific as they'd like to get, and for everyone they have a different thought process. Again, some people have like a similar thought process where it falls under the same belt, but not everyone falls under the same terms, the same realm. So for me, transgender is the biggest umbrella, and then under transgender we have multiple other again terms. We have terms such as non-binary. We have terms such as trans woman, trans man, and then on the other side, of the umbrellas, other than trans umbrellas, we have the cis umbrella, and the binary terms can exist in man or woman, or cis man, cis woman, trans man, trans woman. Those are binary terms. And then we again have the non-binary terms under the transgender umbrella. You don't have like non-binary people that are cis. I'm sure maybe there may be some people that consider themselves as a cis, but like cis non-binary people, but cis non-binary kind of doesn't exist in the, I guess, quote unquote scientific terms. And again, this is just the way that I am referencing what I know, and I don't know everything. I'm not going to say that I am the professor of all of this or that I am well studied. This is just what I know based off my experiences. And so again, when I have talked to my community or other people when I'm trying to explain how I feel as a trans individual, this is just how I relay the information, and hopefully it makes sense to you. Again, if it doesn't, maybe you guys can look up the umbrella terms for trans people and then see it visually, because you may be visual learners instead of auditory learners. And unfortunately, I don't have the visuals to show you right here, but again, under the trans binary, you have the trans women and the trans men who may have been assigned male at birth or assigned female at birth. And I'm putting these in air quotes because you don't really have to say those things. Like, you can identify as them, but once you've done enough hormone therapy, you are like a man or a woman. If you are born female, assigned female at birth, you could be a trans man, and again, after hormone therapy, after surgery, you are a man. And same vice versa with a trans woman who may have been assigned male at birth. And then you get into the non-binary, right, where you talk about the gender of non-binary individuals. You could have a plethora of genders under non-binary, whereas I am pangender, other people can be agender or gender fluid, right? And then there's some people who don't feel connected to gender at all. I think that may be agender, but I also don't want to be wrong. So again, you guys can look up these terms more in specific and even see if this is something that correlates with something that you feel. You may be like, oh, I'm non-binary actually, like I don't really connect to any gender at all. And you may, like, again, I'm not sure, but it may be agender, right? Like, that may be the most detailed that you go under, and that may mean like no gender at all. And then there's the same amount of thinking that could go into non-binary as well. But there's also people that fall under non-binary that may be bigender, or they may just have something that's against the binary. But again, there's people that are in the binary that may consider themselves just a man and a woman, and they feel like they're in the binary. But then there's also like people who are intersex, right? And they may not even fall under these binary or non-binary umbrellas, because these may be individuals who, again, are born differently than what we have seen as the quote-unquote normal. And I'm saying that because, again, it's not normal, it's just what we have. Like, there are intersex people, and there are a percentage of our community, and they deserve to be seen, heard, talked about, celebrated, just as everyone else is, right? And so, yeah, we're just talking about what the umbrella terms mean. To go deeper into what this means for me, like, as a pangender individual, I am so many things, and we can get deeper into that. But I think, like, if you guys understand what pansexual means, or the term pan in Latin terms in general, then you guys understand that, like, it means like many. You can be attracted to many different genders, and people can even get confused with bisexual and pansexual, and it could just be a difference of preference of what people prefer as their term. And at the end of the day, you know, again, it's just what makes you feel most comfortable, and that's what you should do at the end of the day. So again, this goes into gender. So yeah, for me, pangender means non-binary. I guess, you know, to some people, pangender could mean in the binary because you can feel like a man or a woman. But again, we can go deeper into that. But I am queer through and through. My relationships are all queer, even those that did not accept themselves as queer in the past. Like for me, on my side of things, it was queer, and maybe that's why things didn't work out, because I needed a queer situation to feel like it was comfortable. My first relationship in general was a lesbian experience, even though it was not the safest experience in the world. I say that because these people were troubling. I do feel grateful that I felt so comfortable to be open, you know. And it's strange being back in this space where I've been in for more than 10 years. You know, maybe I haven't been in it consecutively or consistently because we've been away in Austin, and I may be going back to Austin, but this is always going to be a space that I come back to, you know. And it's again weird to see these streets, these cul-de-sacs where I didn't even know that like people knew where I lived, you know, and people came to my house, and it's like, do you even like realize how strange or weird that is? It's like, no, I don't want to go outside and then see you, you know, like I don't want to, like, I don't know, this is just like getting into like way too specifics, but this is like queer culture for me, you know. Like again, I've been talking about a lot of things for a lot of days. I've been talking about like what the colors mean to me, what rainbow capitalism means to me. If you guys have seen the last, you know, entirety of my episodes, again, you guys know that I'm a queer creator. I've created this when it was Pride Month last year in 2025. You know, we've had 10 plus years, it's been 11 years since we've had gay marriage legalized. You know, there's a lot of people who used to have like very backwards homophobic thinking that have come on to this brighter side of things where love is love because love is love, right? It's like the fact that I'm able to talk so openly on my channel and post literally whatever I want for you guys to watch and listen, that's showing the strides that we've made, you know, since Stonewall, right? Since even before Stonewall. And it's very sad that like we've had generations of queerness, you know, past even what we've written in history textbooks, but we only have what the white man has documented. But anyway, things are hard right now, and I'm just ready for things to not be so hard. And I don't know, maybe you guys feel it, but I feel like it's coming. And maybe I've been feeling like that for the last 10 years, but like it's not just 10 years that's gonna get us there. It's a lot longer than that, and that's okay. But yeah, I feel like we're revisiting that the relationships, or no, I have something else to revisit. But, you know, again, I'm grateful that my relationships have changed since the mailman passed. But yeah, I'm glad that my relationships have changed since the past, because again, there's been people who have thought that like they are not queer, and again, that's acceptable for them. But I just want to appreciate my queerness, and also, I don't know, there's just so many people here. I might be getting a little insecure and a little self-conscious. Concha? Like a concha, you know, like those beautiful donuts. But yeah, again, I'm grateful that things have changed, because in the past there were people that were not accepting of me, and for some reason I felt like I was supposed to love them. It's not like I was supposed to, like I wasn't forced to, but like again, my relationships these days have been a lot more suitable for me, and they've been going towards what my future is, which like again, everything that we do in this world is a learning path, and we maneuver the way we traverse these scary things, the obstacles, the way that we need to. But relationships shouldn't be scary, they should be easy, and they should be challenging in the way that like they change you, but they shouldn't be like challenging in the way that they hurt you, right? And I guess those things in the past did hurt me, and that's really ultimately why things need to change. And again, then we have to be conscious of the changes and grateful of them. So yeah, everything that I've experienced is queer through and through, and sometimes people can see even queer relationships, like it can be a bi woman with a bi man, bisexual both, right? And people are like, oh, they're not queer. Or, you know, you can see like a trans woman that's like passing, and I do quotes because it's like, what does that even mean, like in this Eurocentric featured world? But yeah, it's awesome that you know, you can wear a rainbow flag to a queer event, and it's like, oh yeah, this individual is trans, or like this relationship is queer, and like we don't have to see it as something strange or weird or out of the ordinary. Sorry, there was a fly. Again, we have a lot more bugs. Maybe it's just the summer, you know? We're going through the seasons with this podcast, and I've been inside for some time. It's not like I wanted to be inside, but it's just a time that we've had. And also, I'm grateful for Otai, I just want to say, for watching my podcasts consistently and seeing them, that they're posted on at noon these days, because like that's a huge change. Like, you guys can expect when this podcast will drop now, and I can also expect myself to like record more consistently, and you know, write my captions, write the titles. Again, this has been very DIY. I want you guys to feel like very confident that you guys can start your own podcasts too, and that you guys can make the arts that you want. So yeah, we're 56 episodes in. It's very strange how like I've gone from the recordings back a year ago to now. Like, I don't feel like there's a huge difference in my setup or like my energy, but I know that there's a difference in my energy. Like, I've changed how often, again, that I record, and I can record more in the future, and that gives me more time to feel settled during the week, and that makes me like not scared to post, you know. And I guess that like changes how I talk. So I don't know, I guess maybe like I don't see how I change day by day. But that's the thing about growth at the end of the day anyway. You don't see day by day, you see like week by week and year by year, and then you look back and you're like, damn, I've grown a lot, and that's the beautiful thing. Anyway, moving forward, moving through, again, we're talking about happiness through love. Love is love, and this is the revisited thing. So again, you know, we have Pride Month, and we get to experience pride parades. Again, we talked about rainbow capitalism and all of the different colors, and how again, love is love. How everyone's deserving of experiencing their timing. You know, their timing needs to be sorry, I get so awkward on the camera. When there's people around, I get so self-conscious. But yeah, love deserves to be seen. It deserves to be in the public eye. It deserves to be celebrated. It's like we're allowed to do multiple things at once. Multiple things can be true at once. So again, like the FIFA World Cup at the same time as Pride Month, like we're able to celebrate all of these things. Again, we should. And doesn't that make everyone happy? Again, like, rainbows aren't for everyone. Pride isn't for everyone. Be yourself, you know, be who you're meant to be. It's not like, or maybe I said it wrong. I feel like I said it's not for everyone, but it is for everyone, right? Like, we're not holding these situations back. We're not saying like, oh, like, you're only allowed to wear this extravagance during Pride Month, or like you're only allowed to experience your love or get married during Pride Month. Like, obviously that's not what anyone is saying, but that's what I'm saying. Like, happiness through love, like every moment can be that, you know, and every month can be that, every day can be that. And I think that's the point that I've been trying to make throughout this entire project and this podcast, especially Pride Month, right? Like, what we're doing here, who we're talking to, who we're talking about, it's all a part of the same circle, the same omnipresent love. It's all a part of the same happiness, even the sadness, right? Like, even the grief, even the moments of like, oh yeah, I learned how to swim because things had been so hard back when my friend Heidi had died last year, you know, like, again, all of it is a part of love. And I think, again, that's why we're experiencing things at the end of the day. You know, we're talking about science, we're talking about reading, learning, love, education, all of these different things, health, moving, traveling, seeing, experiencing, learning, writing, journaling, reflecting, painting, all of it, right? Like, all of that's happiness through love. And yeah, we deserve to sit down and experience like what these things mean, what happiness means for us, what love means for us. You know, like, we deserve to like actually know what self-love means for us. And I say that because, like, I think I just recently learned what self-love meant for me. I feel like I had a really difficult time, like, loving myself, and like loving myself has changed a lot, especially since I started my podcast, especially since I started like asking the questions like, are you a friend to yourself? How can you be more of a friend to yourself? How can you love yourself more? Like, these things have meaning, these words have meaning, and like also language changes. So like, how can we change the language, and how can we change it for ourselves to benefit? So yeah, that's happiness. Like, again, we're building something here. We're building a happiness, we're building a love, we're building a foundation, we're building a world, and we're building history, something that we can go back to. And again, that's all love. That's the universe in action. That's experience in action. So we're gonna talk about, how did I figure out that I was trans? How did that go? So first off, it was at UTSA in San Antonio, Texas. Again, Texas is filled with trans people, it's filled with gay, queer people, and I don't think I even had many trans friends at UTSA in college. And I feel like, again, the pandemic brought a lot of trans people to discovering themselves, and it's not like we couldn't have discovered ourselves outside of this. It may have taken more time, and honestly it should have taken less time, in my opinion, because like, I was, again, at UTSA, I was a freshman, and then they sent us home, and this gave us a lot of time to explore. But like, I was failing with my grades. Like, I feel like, finding out that I'm trans, like, it's not something that like you expect to like affect the rest of your life if it's just like a phase, or if it's a one-off thing, but like, no, this was like the rest of my life. Like, it's not just the rest of my life. Like, this idea, this thoughts colored every day of my life that's already been experienced. And that's something that like, that you're trans. And like, I feel like that's also something that like you obviously know if you're cis, right? Like, you're like, okay, I did not have that experience. Like, no, every single day that I have is colored by the fact that this is what I was when I was born. And again, like, everyone's different. For me, being pangender means, again, like, I'm a man, a woman, and non-binary, and so many other things. Like, sometimes I'm nothing, and that doesn't mean I don't have an existence in this world. That means my existence in this world is genderless. Like, for me, that means like gender doesn't exist for me, and maybe that means like that colors how I see everyone else. Like, again, this is only how my perspective affects me, and like how I want people to perceive me, because again, this is how I love. And this is not saying that like my love and my happiness cannot be different than others. It's like we all have to be the same. No, that's like saying that like, if someone sees differently than me, like, that's fair, but like also that's coloring how I love, and that doesn't mean that I have to love them. Like, we're allowed to choose our relationships, and that empowers us more. There's been this fly on this phone for so long, and like, I think he feels like very perceived right now, especially, but I think he's like listening to the podcast anyway. Maybe he's gay, he's understanding. Like, he's like, I've got a very short life and I'm allowed to be gay. Like, I know my biological need makes me want to like have these relations, to have babies, but like, can I just have relations for fun? And he's like, yeah, now I'm learning, I'm allowed to have relations for fun. I hope he has a fruitful life, or she, or they. So yeah, first off, I want to say that, again, the experience of finding out that I'm gay is so large, and it deserves a moment to be looked at and examined under a lens. And for me, I had gone to UTSA. It's not like I knew I was a woman. It's just that I knew that I existed as a human, and I'm a person. And like, you go to college to learn. Like, I think we all go to college for different reasons. Some people go to college because it's what they need to divulge themselves, deeply in, like, immerse themselves into something that allows them to get the money that they need, whether that be from medicine or law. And some people go immediately and realize like they just need the degree. Like, they can just like bullshit, and maybe even, like, I hate to say it, but cheat. I'm not saying that I would ever cheat going to college, but I am saying, like, because that matters. Unfortunately, I say that because, like, we have people using AI these days, and that sucks. But and that's cheating, right? It's like, anyway, so yeah, I went to UTSA not knowing what I was going for, and I guess I found a lot of things what I was going for. Like, I found what empowered me, what I wanted to speak up about, how I'm an artist through and through, and like, if everything's falling apart, that's what I have at the end of the day. That's my oxygen. Music as well, of course. And there was a lot of hardships, like the relationship, the first one that I described to you, the lesbian relationship. My first relationships were lesbian, and I'm saying that because, like, I considered myself a lesbian. I think I talked to you guys about how the first time that my family found out that I was gay was when I was forced to read the fact that I was a lesbian out loud to them, and there's like a lot more that went into that conversation, I think, when I talked to you guys about it. But yeah, you go to UTSA and you have like this terrible relationship that has transferred and transformed into this college because, again, this horrible rapist did go to my college, and he lives in San Antonio, and I left San Antonio, but he lived in Houston again when we were kids together. I say that because we grew up together. Again, we were the same age, and now he's going to Colorado. And if you guys know, you know, and if you don't know, you don't know. And some people still like support this guy, and a lot of people consider it libel or slander because I'm talking about this to this day. But it's like, I know what happened, and everyone knows what happened, because even in college, he was a perpetrator. People told me that he abused people, and I know because I know. Anyway. The fact of the matter is that I went to UTSA, and when I was in person, again, I went in 2019 when the pandemic happened, so they sent us home in 2020. But my freshman year, starting in 2019, I had gone to a lot of different events. I was in a lot of different clubs. This was same when I was going to high school. Like, I would have thrived in college if I was able to spend all 4 years there. I knew my years were going to get better, but like, again, then the pandemic happened, and that was just like so hard. But then being in school, I was going to the gym, I was going to the food hall, I was going to classes. Like, literally, I had 8 a.m. classes, so I woke up at 6 a.m., started my day, and then like my day was done by 2 p.m., and I literally had a full day to myself. I loved it. I had such a great schedule, and I felt so healthy. I felt like I was the healthiest I was my entire life. I was supposed to be vegan entering college, but like, again, that's neither here nor there. That's not what we're talking about, but I guess it kind of is, because again, happiness, love is love. But yeah, I had gone to the food hall every single morning, like I said, after I went to the gym, because I had 8 a.m. classes. And when I went to the food hall, there was typically the same guy working the omelet station every single day. And I say this because there were some days where it wasn't him, but they typically had a rotating staff of the cash register people, the salad bar people, the regular food stations, and also the dishwashers, right? But he was the typical only omelets guy, again, with exception for like 1 or 2 days. But like, again, everyone else was rotating so often that it was like, that it feels like he's overworked. And I guess I say this because, like, first off, he's overworked. If you have empathy, like, you can put two and two together. You can understand a lot more about this guy just by looking at him. You know that all of these workers are students because they're getting paid by UTSA, and those are the UTSA jobs. You work on campus, so it feels good because you live on campus and you go to school on campus, so it's just like, it's a whole different world, it's a whole different lifestyle. So I went to this guy to get an omelet almost every single morning. I filled it up with bacon and all this and that, and then he gave it to me, and every single day he'd be like, "Yes, ma'am," and I'd be like, "Thank you, please." I was so polite. I'm always so polite. And there was this one day, like, I wore different clothes than I typically do, and it's not like I always dress high femme or high mask. I just feel like I dress how I dress, and I guess this particular day I dressed like a little more what I feel like was flat chested, which is crazy because I feel like I've got such a big chest. And I say that because, again, like, how can you hide this even with a binder? But I mean, that's not even, again, neither here nor there, because I want children, and like, that's a bigger conversation on like, what does trans med mean? Like, can you be a trans man and still have boobs? Of course you can, but like, are cis people ready to have that conversation? Like, are cis het normativity corrupting too many people's minds? Who knows? But these people had seen me every single day and then said, "Yes, sir," and that made me feel so good. And then he literally so loudly, again, this is like 7 a.m. or something now, like, I'm ready to go to class, and like, he's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry, like, that is my fault, that is a big huge apology for me." And like, again, all these people who saw me every single day damn near were like, "Oh god, like, this is like embarrassing." And maybe it's not embarrassing, maybe they're like, "Oh, thank god, like, this person corrected this like situation," because again, we see this person every single day damn near. I felt so bad. I didn't say nothing. And then I thought about it like for the rest of my life. You know, I'm still thinking about it, right? It's been 7 years. It's been 7 years since that. And that was before the pandemic even started, right? Like we already had the thoughts, the feelings that this is gonna happen. Like I am an astrological person, I'm a spiritual person, I'm a manifest. So I felt that this energy was coming. And then damn, like you would not even know it. Like apparently all my friends had the same experience of they were going to school, and you know, even before the pandemic they were having these inklings. And again, you know, I went to school with people who are trans. Like again, my first lesbian experience, I put a quote unquote because they are a trans man. Again, I feel like I'm giving way too much details, but I didn't even say his name. But yeah, still, it's like, you know, a queer experience. And like oftentimes I feel like more people are queer than they think. And yeah, that's just how it went for me. I could not stop thinking about it. And then, you know, you're like, okay, well, when I was a child, everyone called me a tomboy, and people were like, when you're whistling, you're a lesbian, and this and that makes you too manly, and that makes you too masculine. You're like, you know, you're again putting it under a lens, a microscope, seeing other people's experiences, talking to other people. And then little do you know, eventually you're like, oh my god, like maybe I'm a trans man. And you know, that thought, like cis people typically don't have that thought, and maybe some cis people do have that thought. Again, some people are trans and then they detransition, and that's an experience that exists. Everyone has experiences and they all exist and we're allowed to. But yeah, you know, it's like once you have that inkling, it's like, well, what comes next? And for me, what came next was like, well, sometimes I feel like nothing, and like that's fair, you know. And it's like, okay, well, sometimes I do feel like a woman, and that's also fair. And it's like, also, why do I feel like a woman? And that's also a fair conversation, right? Because there's some people who are trans men who may consider womanhood to be a part of their identity because of how they're raised socially, even if they pass, you know. And then again, like there's some people who are clocked super easily, and that's a terrible thing. And like some of these terms are terrible to use if you're not gay, and then if you're gay, they're like not terrible terms, because again, you know, it's just like a black person using the n-word, it's reclaiming. And again, there's not always terms that we're allowed to reclaim, just like the r word. And I'm not saying this has like these are words we're allowed to say, or like it's okay to say slurs. No, I'm saying it because this is a part of the conversation of the gay community. It's like, why is this okay to use? And it's like, again, there's so much more that goes into the historical contexts, but it's like then you get into like black queer people or brown queer people, right? Or like indigenous queer people, you know, people of color who have been around longer than we've had writings that we can understand. So yeah, figuring out that I was trans felt historical, felt generational, it felt like so many things. And that goes into my next point, because again, as someone that's socialized as a woman, you think like, okay, as a non-binary person, like, are you allowed to consider yourself a woman even if someone else is not calling you a woman? And I think I was having trouble with that concept for some time. And then it was black queer people who illuminated the path for me, who reminded me that when we are socialized a certain way, we have the traits that come from being socialized that way, right? If we did not have those traits, if we were not perceived by the light in this way, we would be seen differently. If our light exuded a green light, maybe we would be all seen as shades of green. And then it wouldn't be like a color difference, it would be like a shade difference, you know. And then maybe we wouldn't be colorist, maybe we would be shadist, because you know that's just what we see. And then maybe under like a specific light, you see that everyone's like true color is like these variations of tan. So then it's like, okay, well, what if our light is just producing like tanness? You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like getting way too crazy about this, but like, you know, our sun could produce different lights. Is it a coincidence that it produces white light, or like most lights produced by stars that we can see by our visible eye, like that we're seeing like white lights, but like aren't like some other things like, but those are like more like planets. I don't know. I guess I'm thinking a lot, and you guys are here on the journey with me. But anyway, I was socialized as a woman. What can I say? So I feel like I'm more empathetic than most people that are socialized as men. And often, being socialized as a woman, I feel like people take away the fact that I'm non-binary or that I am high mask oftentimes, because you know, I wish I didn't have boobs, but again, I want to have children, and you don't have to have boobs to have children. Like, I would still have my uterus, but like I would also want to get rid of my uterus. And again, you don't have to have a uterus to have children. You could do many other pathways, but for me particularly, I want to have biological children. And again, you know, being trans med is a thing. You don't have to take medicine, you don't have to take hormones, you don't have to have surgery to be trans, and some people think you do. And asking those questions out of the blue can be quite inappropriate, but if someone's trans and talking to you about this, then like, hey, you're getting some free knowledge and take it, right? This is my podcast, this is what I want to talk about, because I want to be honest about y'all about who I am, and I want y'all to stick up for me, and again, support queer creators in who they are, and know what you're getting yourselves into. But yeah, I'm non-binary. I was socialized as a woman, so I feel like a woman. And after saying all that, I am a man. Like I said, I'm high mask. That means I'm high masculine. If you guys know me, you guys know my energy is very masculine. You guys know that the way I wear clothes is masculine, even if you guys don't understand what that means. Like, what do you mean it's masculine? Like, your clothes look feminine, but like the way I'm wearing it is masculine. You know, I could be wearing a dress and I could be wearing it very masculine. I could be wearing it very feminine too, but I guess it depends on the day, right? And I feel like you can tell, typically, if you're queer, and also, like, my voice is very deep, but, like, also, I had 2 puberties. I had a puberty when I was, like, 12, and then I had a puberty just now where my voice started cracking, and then my voice got deeper, and I guess that happens because I am, damn, this just ripped off. I guess it's my fault, but, like, it's still here, it still exists. Sorry if you guys are watching this with no audio, or only audio, it's the thing to my journal. You can see this if you're watching the video, but anyway, again, neither here nor there. It's meant to break at some point, and it's really just a bookmark and a ribbon, but anyway, so yeah, some people won't consider me a man because they're like, oh, well, you're a woman, oh, you're assigned female at birth, or they're transphobic, or this or that, you know, they're homophobic, they're anti-gay, basically, they're anti-pride, they're anti-love, they're anti-happiness, but that's just them, you know. Everyone's allowed to be who they are, and I feel like it used to trouble me a lot more when people were not capable of understanding who I was, but like not so like bothered me as in like I like will ignore them, but more so bothered me like I will just not be friends with them, to be honest. Like nowadays I'm like, yeah, like I can talk to them and maybe I can learn something from them, and maybe they won't learn anything from me, but that's okay. Like they're on their journey, you know. So I don't know, growing up has been nice, and I'm still trans every single day, you know, I'm still queer, and I'm always going to be, no matter what anyone says. Some people have been truly terrible to me, and some people, again, in the queer community, even, like, gay people can be homophobic, you know? Even the most gayest man can be homophobic. Even internalized homophobia affects all of us, you know? I feel like if we don't believe we're gay until, like, an older time period, you could have internalized homophobia for a long period of your life, and maybe you could have internalized transphobia and not know that you're trans for so long because you hate trans people. And that's just you know. Again, maybe I mean, I can't lie, like a big portion of me not knowing I was trans for so long was me being transphobic, and like everyone else around me, their transphobia helped me understand that I was trans. And again, you know, when I was younger, when I was a kid, it was much more difficult. It was much more difficult to admit that I was trans, because the trans people around me, like, I loved them, but again, like, I feel like it was hard to be around them because I had internalized transphobia. But there's some people that you can be around who are internalized transphobic, but you can only be around them because at the end of the day, they're only internalized transphobic. There's some people who are internalized and externalized, and that's where it's like very tricky, because like at some point they can be like a better individual where they're nicer to you, and then all of a sudden one day it's like their transphobia affects you so horribly, terribly, and then like they change, or sorry, I don't know what I just said, but like, yeah, you know, it affects them terribly. Like, I don't know if I said that twice, but and then one day they change, and then it's like hard to rehabilitate them or like reintroduce them to your life. And also, like, I hate to say it, but like queer people who come out like way later, you know, it can be like violence. It's also typically like white queer people, I hate to say that, like I feel like they come out later where it's like, again, violence against queer people, because it's like, well, some of these queer people were literally like hiding their partners in the closet. Like, you think I'm joking when I say this? Like, you think I'm just talking about like a closet, like as a stereotypical term, But no, I'm literally saying, like, there's some people who, like, have maybe undocumented family members, or, like, you know, people that they don't want to hide, or they don't want to see their family seeing, they want to hide because they're not, like, they're pretending to be straight, but they're actually gay. And then when their family sees them, they put their partner in the closet. Like, I'm serious, right? That's terrible. It's terrifying. But yeah, that's just what I wanted to talk about in that term, in that respect, in that sense. And I wanted to say that, I mean, maybe you can even feel it in my energy now that I've explained it and told you, and then you can see, like, who I am since I was born. And, like, again, sometimes this gets confusing to me, but as I understand myself more and more, it makes more and more sense. Like, I am everything all at once, except sometimes where I'm some of these things, and sometimes I'm only one of these things, and sometimes I'm all of these things, right? And that's the point of the conversation of, like, what does this word mean? Why is this the title of the podcast today? And yeah, it's like, I also want to talk about how we have a past, present, and future in this, like how I've been talking about this entire time, what this encompasses, like what I was when I was born, what I was when I die in the future, what I will be, right? Who I am now and who I'm becoming, and also, like, the future generations that follow me, and also the generations that came before me, right? All the Bengalis and all the queer people and the trans people that made up this universe to be who they are. All of that matters in this, and that gets us back to the happiness and how love is love. Because again, all we have to do is, like, raise the children and raise the future and raise the people who are alive and that are going to continue to be alive and continue making more people that will be alive, right? Humans. Okay. The last thing I want to talk about before we get off is that my pronouns are he, they. This should be, like, the most important thing that I talk about ever. Like, if anything I've ever talked about matters, this is what matters. When I get misgendered, it bothers me so much. My pronouns are not she, her. You do not use she, her around me. You use he, they. My pronouns are he and they, as in he, him, and they, them, as in he is great. That is him. I know them. There they go. There is my friend. They are my friend. I love them. I love him. He's awesome. He's cool. I know him, right? Like, that's what you say. You don't say any of the she, her pronouns with me. That's women, I guess, who use she, her pronouns, non-binary people who use she, her pronouns, people who use she, her pronouns. But I used he, they pronouns. I have to say this very bluntly and blatantly because I want y'all to say it correct. I don't know if you can see it. I've been rubbing my forehead a lot, and like I've been saying, I've been driving, I've been going everywhere, I've been recording my podcast. My partner just left to go back home. He is great. They are nice. My pronouns, he, they. Anyway, next week we're going to see the episode that I recorded in San Antonio again, where I went to go see Angela Stone, and that is amazing. We have had a lovely time going all over Texas. We've seen a plethora of different cities, states, Utopia, Texas, Del Valle. Hopefully I'll be able to make a move soon, and then we'll be in even more parts of Texas and the world, and that's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see what fruits the next chapter of my life brings. But again, next week you guys will see Angela Stone and our interview, and she is an amazing musician, creator, mother, person, painter, community builder. I have so much to say about this beautiful, beautiful individual, this woman. But for right now, I will just leave y'all be, because I will also say one last thing before I close up. Y'all know those last things that I'm going to say, and I just want y'all to get excited for next week. I don't know how long this has been, but I appreciate y'all for every moment y'all have been here. Again, y'all know what I'm about to say here. Thank y'all so much for joining me, community fam. Y'all are amazing. Y'all are sweet. Y'all are kind. Keep affirming yourselves. Keep working on yourselves. Keep keeping yourselves healthy. Drink healthy water. Like, actually look up your water. Don't drink the water that will give you cancer, because a lot of things will give you cancer these days. Take care of your friends, your family. Give everyone a hug. If you don't want to give them a hug, that's also okay. Go get some education. Read a book. If no one's telling you to read a book, then read a book anyway. Love your life. And until next time, have fun. I'll see you later. Much love. Bye-bye.